Welcome to the Permit to Work Training and Validation Program. As you may have heard that people who perform high-risk tasks, such as in confined spaces, working at height, cold work, hot work, etc., frequently experience several threats. We request you all to understand, adopt and adhere to the requirements, protocols, and guidelines of this PTW system. The goal of this program is to identify jobs that require PTW, gain a general understanding of work permits and the PTW system, and learn how to correctly fill out PTW forms. A quiz with a passing score of 90% will be held at the end of this session. It is important that all individuals who are authorized to issue or accept work permits must have completed the necessary training and on-the-job experience. This training shall be validated and recorded by the management. The non-PCBL employees and contractors are also subject to these requirements. Now, it is critical that you understand what a work permit is and what it should cover. A work permit or a permit to work is an agreement between the issuer and the receiver that documents the conditions, preparations, precautions, and limitations that need to be clearly understood before the work begins. Let us now look at what it should consist of. A work permit must clearly state the work to be done, work description, the location of the work, as specific as possible, the hazards present and involved, including residual hazardous substances, hot surfaces, trapped pressure, etc. The precautions to be taken, including a clear list of all isolations from hazardous materials and sources of energy. The time span, date and time the permit comes into effect, and the period of validity. Reference to all other permits or authorizations. It must be a record that foreseeable hazards and a work to be done have been identified in advance, that all necessary precautions are defined and taken in the correct sequence. It must also be the record of the formal handover of control from one authority to another, and back. What is a work permit system? A work permit system is a formal written system used to control certain activities in the factory that are considered hazardous, non-routine, take place in potentially dangerous locations or environments. The above points show when a work permit is required. Exemptions from the PTWs may be, if you are working on routine, short duration, specialist tasks like topping up oil, greasing of equipment, changing truck batteries at charging point, changing lamps, adjusting low-hazard office machinery, etc. After learning what a work permit is and what it must contain, let's move on to the process of obtaining one. An issuer, receivers, and reviewer are all involved in this process of obtaining a work permit. Flow of PTWA and PTWB. It starts with the work planner. As per PM schedule, if applicable, the work planner can be area owner or issuer. The issuer has these responsibilities, which we will learn in a while. If the receiver requires electrical lototo, the issuer applies for it and hands over to the electrical department. They then proceed to ensure permit conditions. These are receiver's responsibilities, which we will learn in a while. If the hazards and precautions are non-compliant, the permit conditions are corrected, revised, and reissued. After the receiver accepts the permit to work, the permit is reviewed, distributed on-site, closed, and filed in respective departments by the HSE. Each role has a set of important duties that must be carried out with responsibilities. For instance, the key roles of an issuer include defining work scope, location and statement, inspecting the work site, identify hazards and existing controls, identify safety precautions and PPEs, creating safe working conditions on site, review work with permit acceptor, issue work permit and implement permit closure. Similarly, The key responsibilities of a permit receiver are understanding the work scope and the potential hazards associated with the work and location, agreeing to take the necessary precautions and PPEs identified by the owner, complying with permit closing procedure. The receiver accepts all the work and duties stated in the permit by signing it. It is a recommended practice that the issuer, the receiver, and persons executing the work should visit the work site to discuss the scope of work, risks, and safety precautions. This practice should also be done to prevent any unauthorized change. Please note that the permit itself does not make the job safe. Let us take a deeper look in the permit system at PCBL. The types of work permits which can be issued are Permit A, work at height, excavation, electrical, hot work, confined space entry, other critical jobs, scaffolding, and Permit B, cold work, which includes equipment maintenance, general civil work, material lifting by crane, material shifting by hydra, insulation, painting. Both permits have two copies. File copy, PTW white, PTWB white. Receiver, PTW pink, PTWB green. Validity of Permit A. 1 working day, 8 hours. Can be extended up to maximum 24 hours. By authorized issuer after reviewing the job conditions. Validity of Permit B. 1 working day, 8 hours. Can be extended for consecutive 5 days by authorized issuer after reviewing the job conditions. Permit closure, when the job is completed to the satisfaction of issuer, an area machine handed over to user. Permit cancellation. Change of intent or scope of work. Unforeseen hazards or conditions are identified after work is started. Unsafe practices are being followed. Lockout steps. Step 1. Review procedure. Step 2. Notify others. Step 3. Shut down equipment. Step 4. Isolate equipment. Step 5. Lotto equipment. Step 6. Release stored energy. Step 7. Verify isolation. Step 8. Maintenance work. Step 9. Restoring energy. When the job is completed to the satisfaction of issuer, the area machine is handed over. Before doing that, please make sure to check that the pipework, fittings, wiring, couplings, filters and instrumentation are correctly refitted. There are no trapped materials inside vessels, pipes, panels, etc. There is no water, nitrogen, etc. trapped. Guards have been properly affixed. The area is clean of debris, scrap, tools, spares, etc., and the workmen have withdrawn from the area. Also check that the area machinery is in functional or operable condition. Lototo procedure. All Lototo supervisors, authorized persons, of process and maintenance department to hand over the Lototo lock keys to permit issuer, and the permit issuer will keep all the Lototo keys in the dedicated Lototo box. The dedicated Lototo box will be locked by the permit receiver, and the key will be kept with permit receiver till completion of the work. After completion of the work, receiver will close the permit and hand over the closed permit along with Lototo box key. The area owner shift in charge along with the authorized Lototo supervisors visit the area to physically evaluate that all work has been completed, all personnel are moved out of the area, all machine guards are in position and securely fastened, electrical terminations are properly done, no open loose piping ends exist. On satisfactory inspection, area owner shift in charge opens the Lototo box and hands over the keys to the respective Lototo authorized supervisors for removal of the locks. Once the respective authorized Lototo supervisors report back that de-isolation has been carried out, the area owner carries out a final inspection to ensure that all locks, tags, isolations have been removed. Area equipment owner prepares for trial before hand back of equipment section of the plant. We will now look at the auditing of PTW, which is also a mandatory requirement. It should be done by the plant personnel several times per year. The permit can be cancelled if there is a change of intent or scope of work, unforeseen hazards or conditions are identified after work is started, or unsafe practices are being followed. Please ensure that every time you complete or sign a permit, you give the task your fullest attention. It is crucial to remember that if you get it wrong, forget something, or overlook a hazard, you could be responsible for someone's death. Thank you for participating in the General Work PTW training. We are open for any questions and discussions. Let us test your knowledge so far with a few exercises. Following that, you will be needed to complete a 30 minutes validation quiz. You must receive a passing score of 90%. Let us start with the exercises. Be safe for yourself and the people around you. Thank you.